What's up, duelists? Your boy's back with an absolute banger Ancient Gear video. Got a ton of matches to show you guys, but before we get into the deck profile, all that stuff, first things first, RBET returns November 9th and November 10th. It is going to be the last RBET of the season before RBET Rulers. It is a double elimination tournament online held in the really big Yu-Gi-Oh! Discord. You can join that in the description below, and it's free to enter. Anyone can enter it from around the world, whatever. Find more info on that in the Discord. Go ahead, join the Discord, play an RBET, compete with the best of the best Edison duelists. All right, this deck is a deck I've been workshopping for a very long time, and the key component, the key missing piece is actually Phantom Sky Blaster. You guys are going to see how powerful this card is in this deck. This card allows you to spam the board with a bunch of bodies and go super, super wide. It makes it very difficult for your opponent to aggro you out, and it also keeps you with bodies in play so that you can convert those bodies into larger monsters, whether that's Caius the Shadow Monarch, or tribute summoning one of these monsters under Gear Town for only one tribute, or utilizing that body for something like Cyber Valley to draw 2 cards, or using those bodies to just actually attack your opponent. If you have a monster in play and then you summon Phantom Sky Blaster, you get 2100 points of power put into play. So that's actually pretty strong for a normal summon. It's one of the strongest normal summons with regards to like damage output that you can put into play. And then if he does survive to your standby phase, you can sometimes burn your opponent out with his second effect. Pretty strong card. Actually, I think very underrated. Imagine if like Agent of Creation Venus didn't have Shine Balls in the deck. That's how I would describe this card. And there's a lot of great ways to utilize the body, which you'll see, I'm sure, in the replays. It is 41 cards. You could easily go down to 40 by cutting the Scrap Recycler, but he's just a little guy, and Wall-E is one of my favorite Pixar movies, so I had to include the Scrap Recycler. He's that boy. He's that boy, all right? You could easily go down to 40 cards with this deck. I'm not saying you should play 41. I'm actually probably saying the opposite, but it is fun to play some fun-ups here and there. So for the purposes of this video, this is going to be the main deck. The side deck does change a little bit over the course of the matches. I think I had Jinzo in the side deck at one point, and then I ended up cutting it for Royal Decree because the deck is pretty normal summon heavy. You'll notice that we are using Threatening Roar and Battle Fader. These are used largely as just time skips or time walks. You want to skip your opponent's turn so that you can have access to your turn, where you can deploy powerful cards like Caius the Shadow Monarch or summon Machina Fortress and get value out of the battle. Even in some instances, you can just use like Threatening Roar to protect like your Phantom Sky Blaster tokens and then convert them with a Cyber Valley, and that's pretty good too in its own right. So there's a lot of ways to get value out of Threatening Roar in this deck, largely just to reversal your opponent after they've made a large overcommitment to the board. The side deck has, I think, the best of the best cards in here. You could make an argument for cutting Nobleman for like Dust Tornado, but Nobleman is quite useful in some matchups, particularly Blackwings and Glads. I don't really like it in any other matchup, but yeah, it's decent versus those decks, but you could cut these. I think these are like the weakest cards in the sideboard. The rest of the sideboard is like gas, straight gas. I'm not sure on Mole, actually, because the deck is very normal summon heavy, and Mole doesn't really work with the whole like Sky Blaster thing, but I have been very happy with the Gear Beast, the Dynas, the Gale, and I have been also very happy with all of these spells and traps, particularly the Karma Cut. One thing that I've been doing lately is declaring attacks with stuff like Ancient Gear, Gajiltron Dragon, and then using Karma Cut to make it unstoppable during the attack declaration phase or the battle step, because they can't use their counter traps like Solemn Judgment or whatever to stop Karma Cut. So that's pretty cool. That comes up a few times in the replays. Same thing with Compulsory. Building uncounterable spells and traps is very nice. The main deck has a few other tech cards. Enemy Controller, Ancient Gear Golem, both very useful in certain circumstances. You don't really want to draw multiples of them, but the one of Enemy Controller is very nice, works well with Battle Fader, works well with Phantom Sky Blaster, and there are a lot of instances too where you just like summon your own Machina Fortress knowingly into a bottomless trap hole. Your opponent will go bottomless, you'll chain Enemy Controller, sacrifice your fortress, take their monster, and then OTK them from there. So I found that this card is actually very high utility in this deck, just at playing through back row or established boards. Let's just get into the replay so you guys can kind of see how the deck works. And yeah, this is the first replay up against Yugioh. I've played against him a bunch in the past. We are going second here. He sets a monster, passes back to us. We special summon Cyber Dragon because our hand is very strong. We have Cyber Valley to convert the Cyber Dragon. part of the reason I like having 3 Cyber Valleys in this deck is leaving Cyber Dragon in play is sometimes a liability. So having the 6 ways, technically even more if you count Gear Town plus the 8 stars as 1 tribute, to convert that Cyber Dragon body so you can continue to apply pressure is very, very nice. And the draw power from Cyber Valley helps the deck smooth out like consistency wise, and it helps you find multiple copies of Gear Town. We're going to attack over Pyramid Turtle. He's going to go ahead and find a Goblin Zombie. Main phase 2, I'm in a normal Cyber Valley and banish the Cyber Dragon to draw 2 new cards. And we find another Gear Frame and a Gorge. So already, hand's great. Board's set up. We got Gear Frame. We got double Gear Town. We've got a lot of ways to come back into the game. I kind of want to bait him into committing more into this Threatening Roar or this Gorge. I want him to make a more committal play, maybe sack for Caius or even start synchroing and go for a Bionic line. So I'm actually going to set the Threatening Roar, even though I do have Gorge in hand, because otherwise he could just poke me with little zombies like Spirit Reaper, Goblin Zombie. I'm forced to drop Gorge, and then he could like main phase 2 Caius me or something like that. And that would give him much more initiative, and it would also take out one of my best cards versus him. Whereas if I force him to commit now, then I can get the initiative back by summoning Gear Frame and then using my battle phase to take out his monsters, and then he won't be able to Caius me, or his Caius will have been wasted on the Threatening Roar. He goes for Emergency Teleport, so exactly what I wanted. I wanted to bait him into this overcommitment. He brings out Psychic Commander. He's going to synchro into Urbellum. So had we just held up the Gorge, we would have been absolutely owned. And this is part of the reason why I love Threatening Roar in this deck particular. It's very good at coming back against established boards because of the nature of Machina Gear Frame, Machina Fortress, and the Gear Towns as well. So yeah, searches Zombie Master. He has yet to use his normal summon. So because he searched Zombie Master here, it tells me that he has Plague already in hand. Is our prediction correct? Who knows? He's going to activate Instant Fusion here and continue to extend onwards. Summons Reaper on the Nightmare, and then he summons Gale. So a massive overcommitment from him here. What he should do is, after having seen this, consider the fact that we are playing Ancient Gears. It's unlikely, but it's worth considering. It's possible, though, that I am just playing a deck that happens to have Cyber Valley and Cyber Dragon, maybe Chaos Fairies, maybe something to that degree. And playing around Mirror Force is definitely the safest play. However, not making Colossal Fighter here is going to be a pretty big punish for the opponent. He's going to make Stardust Dragon, and yeah, once again, we are going to go -1 here, but so is he. He's gone -1 to make this Fusion Synchro play happen. So even though we are down a card now, we have the initiative, we have the turn skip, we have the turn back in our favor. He's going to alert to try and find some sort of defense, because as you can see, his hand is not very defensive. He did actually have the Caius too as well. So he could have gone Caius after the Threatening Roars. And yeah, Threatening Roar is just really, really good at regaining initiative. Healer of Darkness. He's going to banish Krebens here, which tells me he probably doesn't play well, or that he definitely has Plague in hand, which is why he kept the Zombie Master. He's going to pass back to us. We're going to find Machina Fortress, which is a pretty good draw. I'm going to summon Gear Frame, Search Fortress, Pitch Fortress, Special Fortress. And we could go Gear Town here to set up one Gajiltron Dragon, but that Gajiltron Dragon isn't going to be lethal. And I want to keep my Gorge live in case he has comeback plays, like, let's say, Zombie Master into yugioh. That's a comeback play in and of itself. We could also crash the Fortress with the Gear Frame equipped, trade with the Stardust, but then we don't out the Urbellum, and we actually run the risk of him going Zombie Master into Bionic, and then Urbellum locking me, and actually just owning me. So I decided to just crash, clear both, and then attack directly for 18 to soften him up for a follow-up OTK. He's going to drop for turn. He's going to find Trap Dust Shoot. He's going to Zombie Master Pitch, bring out Plague, make yugioh Guardian, and then steal my Gear Frame. So we don't have an OTK set up yet, but we have some stuff going. He sets Dust Shoot. We draw third Terraforming. So yeah, Cyber Valley allowing us to dig through our deck, find our Gear Towns. It's kind of the power of the card. He Dust Shoots us, and he's going to take Gear Frame. So in this hand, we can summon double Gajiltron Dragon. And while that is good, it doesn't win the game. So we do kind of have to get a little bit lucky here that he doesn't find a way to convert his Plague. So that's like the big scary moment here for us, is if he has like Goblin Zombie, it can get really ugly. So we're just going to bring out double Gajiltron Dragon, clear both monsters, keep Caius off our back, potential Caius off our back, and then just pass the turn. He's going to draw Torrential. He's going to activate Plague. Sack for Caius, target the Gajiltron, set Torrential pass. I'm in a normal Gear Frame. He's going to activate Torrential in response, but we do have that Machina Force in our deck, and we are going to be able to bring out Machina Fortress, and as you guys know, because you've seen his hand here, he stacked Giant Trunade with Plague, so he's going to die in 2 turns to this Machina Fortress. So, yeah, powerful stuff, and that's why you play Machina Force in this deck. It's just a searchable monster reborn once you get to the mid and late game. This game, our hand is a little bit weaker. We do have Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon, which is not necessarily a terrible draw, but it's not a great draw because it doesn't get through specifically like the Pyramid Turtles and stuff. But we did find our 1-of Book of Moon, which is nice. Card's quite useful in this matchup. And we did find Brain Control off the top, which is also nice because that means we can convert our Ancient Gear. A Special Cyber Dragon, I attack. Same play I made last game. He's going to go Turtle Search, grab Plague. Main phase 2, I decide that in order to move forward this game, I'm going to have to clear that back row at some point. And I have no way to really clear it without just taking advantage of the fact that his Plague is in play here. So I'm going to Brain the Plague and then just Black Rose blow up the field. He's going to chain Bottomless. I could have set my own Gear Town here to end with a Gajiltron Dragon, but I was a little bit nervous of Cyber Dragon because it is a post-board game. So that, or if I end with a Gajiltron Dragon, I don't get a battle phase out of it, and he could just stack for Plague and make a synchro like Bionic or sack for Caius and out the Gajiltron Dragon, and I will not have gotten a battle phase out of it. So generally speaking, I like to hold my Gear Towns for pre-battle phase. If I'm going to blow them up in main phase 2, it's generally speaking not worth it, especially against decks that can out the Gajiltrons easily, game 2 and game 3. So yeah, just going to set the book to prevent any sort of OTK. He summons Zombie Master and attacks. Smartly doesn't priority or try to activate the effect. He would have just gone -1 into our Book of Moon. He's going to set 2 more background past the turn. We've got the Gear Frame. Gear Frame's going to search Fortress. I have a pretty good hand here, but it's a little bit scary into most back row. Like I said, we just got to play into it. He reveals he is on Torrential. I was surprised that he summoned the Zombie Master and set the Torrential behind it. Normally, you would just keep the Zombie Master in hand. So, yeah, I'm pretty surprised he did that because it's a 2-for-2 on his end, but it leaves us with basically nothing. So, pretty unfortunate. We do have a Gear Town set up with maybe limited removal later in the game. He draws, he passes. Let's see what's in his hand. He's got a bunch of, like, slow removal spells, but like I said, I don't like summoning Gear Dragon unless I'm getting a battle phase out of it. So, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to try to summon the Gear Dragon. He's got Fiendish Chain, which can stop it from attacking, but I think he allows this attack to go through just because he has a Smashing Ground that he wants to use and get value out of. I pass the turn back. He finds Instant Fusion, so now he's able to put together a Synchro play, which is pretty strong. We do have Book of Moon to interrupt it, though. He Instant Fusions for Musician King. He emergency teleports out the Krebins, and now here I'm in kind of a weird spot. If I book the Musician King and he has a normal summon, because I don't know his hand, right? I don't know what is in his hand. If I book the Musician King and he has a normal summon like Caius or something like that, it's a pretty big waste of the book. I would actually prefer him go for an Arcanite or go for a Black Rose first, and then I can get at least 1 card out of the book. But yeah, booking the Musician King is not a terrible play here. It's just not a winning play. Because if he has a Caius, he just like sacks Krebins for Caius, targets the Gajiltron Dragon, and then like I believe the Musician King stays around if it's booked. I could be wrong. It might be destroyed. I don't really know the ruling on that. But if it sticks around and I don't have a way to kill it, that means he has Plague next turn to make Arcanite next turn. So it's just like better to wait here. If he goes Black Rose, then we get the Gear Town effect anyway, so it's like not even that big of a deal. I chain to the effect to gain counters because that does start a chain. If this card is synchro summoned, place 2 spell counters on it. So before this even gets a chance to use his second effect, I'm going to book it face down. So book 1-for-1, trades with his stuff. He's going to Smash and Ground my monster, which sucks because now I have nothing and I can't even clear the Arcanite. But he has nothing too. We top deck Scrap Recycler, which is like a godsend. We're going to try to use his effect, and he's going to allow that. Then I'm going to try to use his second effect to shuffle back the 2 Gear Frames and draw a card. So pretty happy with my 41st card here being Scrap Recycler. Very nice. He's going to, make the opponent at least think about using his Fiendish Chain. And it's also going to hold off this Arcanite from poking me for 400 every turn. I draw into Dinah, which can be useful later on. He's going to go ahead and top deck Book of Life, banish the Machina Fortress, which is really tough for us, bring out Pyramid Turtle, and attack over the Scrap Recycler. We're going to take 300. On our turn, we have a couple of decisions to make. Do we want to pass, utilize the Fader, or do we just want to set the Dinah? I decided to just pass. I don't know why. Oh, I wanted him to think my hand was bad. And I wanted him to maybe special summon a little bit more, and then I could play Fader into Dinah and board wipe his whole board. Like maybe stack for Plague and try to get something going that way, but yeah, it just didn't work out. I draw Threatening Roar, which is nice. Another reason to not set the Dyna is if I set the Dyna, like Snap set it, he could stack for Plague, and he can make Revive King Hades and negate the Dyna. So that would not be good for me either. So I decide to hold on to the Dyna, and it pays off because we draw into Threatening Roar. So now even if he does make Revive King Hades and try to kill the Dyna, we will be able to Threatening Roar, block the attack, and then on our turn, flip the Dyna, blow up the Hades, blow up the Arcanite, and then have a Dyna in play and prevent him from special summoning. So that sounds pretty fucking good to me. He's going to draw for turn. Let's see what's in his hand. He's got a Gale, a Brain Control, and an Instant Fusion. So the Gale's going to be useful. It can kill the Dyna. The Dyna is going to get its value here, though. It's going to deal him 100 damage and blow up all his guys, so that's really fucking good. He's going to summon Gale, have my guy, and pass the turn. I rip Gajiltron Dragon, and now we can finally go for the big boy play, which is flip Gear Town and then tribute summon Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. I could have waited on this play. I could have like set the Fader and then used Threatening Roar to sack the Fader instead of the Dyna to keep him locked under Dyna, but I just figured since Gale can run over Dyna anyway, it's like there's no real reason to keep him around. And he's finally forced a Fiendish Chain here. So pretty good for us. He can't even get over the Gajiltron with the Gale. He can have it. He's going to go for Instant Fusion. He's going to try to make Thought Ruler Archfiend and attack. I just am basically forced to use the Threatening Roar because I don't want him to gain 3k. I think it's, what is it? Equal that monster's original attack in the graveyard. Yeah, I didn't want him to gain 3,000. I'm not, like, close to winning, but if I do somehow find, like, another Ancient Gear monster in the limiter removal, that could be a game shot if he doesn't have more back row, so. He sets another back row, so that's kind of tough. I summon Gear Frame. I search Fortress. I go ahead and set the... Well, I equip the Gear Frame, set the limiter removal. The reason I equip the Gear Frame is because I'm going to limiter removal when he attacks with the Thought Ruler Archfiend, and I just want to keep the body around in case I draw another Ancient Gear guy. But having access to Fortress here is very nice. He's going to attack. We're forced to defensively limiter removal. We could have taken 1,200 there and just let the Gear Frame die, but I figure might as well do this now. Don't give him an opportunity to, like, Kai's you or whatever. End phase, our guy doesn't die because of the Gear Frame, and we draw into Typhoon. So we could Typhoon his other back row, but that doesn't really do anything. We could Typhoon our own Gear Town, which could maybe get us somewhere. I don't know. I decided to just set the Typhoon because if he wants to spend a card trying to deal with it, maybe we could chain it or something like that. We don't have a great target with it right now. He's going to draw Book of Life, so he's going to go Book of Life, target Reaper, special summon Reaper, and this is the Strength of Battle Fader. When this guy declares a direct attack, we can just drop Battle Fader. He gets very greedy here with the Reaper. We're going to draw Gear Town, and that's going to be all she wrote, because now I have 2 tributes for my Machina Fortress. I've got Space Typhoon for his back row, and I've got Gear Town to pop another Gear Town in order to put enough damage in play to kill him over his own Reaper. So, yeah, Battle Fader definitely clutching up this game and showing the reversal power of this deck. Going to sack 2 for the Machina Fortress, tribute, not tribute the Gear Town, but set over the Gear Town, and out of nowhere, we've completely switched this game around and destroyed his Reaper on the Nightmare. This also showcases the weakness of Fiendish Chain in Edison format. There's only one deck, well, there's a couple decks I like Fiendish Chain in Edison format, but I don't like it in Zombies. I think it's quite weak in Zombies. I think generally speaking, you're better off having extenders or hard removal in Zombies specifically because of situations like this. The body was left around. The body was able to kill a Thought Ruler Archfiend, and it was also able to provide a tribute monster for my lethal threat. So the body got double value after he was forced to Fiendish Chain it already. So yeah, it's not a great card in this deck. The decks I really like Fiendish Chain in are specifically decks that are gold sarking for Trunade, like X Sabers, or sometimes Dragon type decks. You could play it there to stall a bit. Decks that can like utilize the leftover Fiendish Chain with Magic Planter, so decks like Uriah or Aliens or Golgard, that type of thing. Those are the decks I really like Fiendish Chain in. In Zombies, the only way to really reuse it is, I guess he was playing Trunade, right? And he was also playing, you do also make Bionic quite a bit with Zombies, but I just think that like you only have one Trunade, and usually when you're going for Bionic, you're going for game. You're not trying to set up like this value Bionic where you're pitching a card and bouncing a Fiendish Chain with Zombies. That's usually a losing game plan. But I think in Zombies you can find better use of the slot. Like Phoenix Wing Windblast is generally speaking a little bit better in Zombies. Or like Compulsory even is better in zombies because it just opens up avenues for you to OTK. It can out things the same way Fiendish Chain does, but it can also like protect your own Caius. Like you can go instant fusion to Caius. Maybe they like bottomless your Caius. You chain compulse on your Caius and then get to reuse the Caius that way. There's more utility with that than with the Fiendish Chain in zombies. It can also clog up your back row if you do play Gores, and I do believe zombies usually always plays Gores. But yeah, good games of Cody EO, and got to show off some of the strengths of this deck. Didn't quite get to show off the strengths of the Sky Blaster yet, but that'll be in the later matches. Here you got to see the power of the Dyna, the Threatening Roars, and the Battle Faders in this reversal style deck. All right, moving on. Next game is up against Smokey O. I don't remember if this is the one. Smokey O is playing one card in his extra deck. So that's like usually a red flag that it's like some type of chain burn or something like that. However, yeah, I would just recommend putting 15 cards in your extra deck no matter what. Usually I leave games like this, but I wanted to play the deck, so I was just like, fuck it, we'll play it out. We're going to normal summon Gear Frame. Gear Frame's going to search. We're going to find Machine of Force because we already have 2 fortresses, so whatever. And usually these heavy back row type decks, they might even be maining Cyber Dragon or something like that, but he only has 1 extra deck, so it's like, is that 1 Chimera Tech? I don't even fucking know. I'm just going to pitch Special Fortress and equip Gear Frame and just say, okay, deal with this fortress. And in the instance that he's not playing like a real deck or it's like Exodia or something, I have 4,300 points of power in play, and next turn I can go for game, so... Yeah, he goes for Swords of Revealing Light and Level Limit Area B. So this is telling me some type of like stall, burn, stall deck. And this could be a tough matchup if we weren't on the 3 main deck Caius Shadow Monarchs. This extra spot removal actually goes super, super hard in a lot of matchups and in a lot of situations where it's just like, oh, I just have this generic banish that I can use. And we're kind of set up to utilize it because if we top deck a Caius, we can like special the Gear Frame back, then sack it for Caius, that type of thing. Target the level limit. You get the idea. Anyway, he sets a monster and passes. I normal summon Cyber Valley and I pass the turn. His set monster here is Dummy Golem, which is a very interesting card. It's basically flip creature swap. It's a creature swap on a flip effect. It's also a rock monster, which is applicable for things like Dark Calling, Mega Rock Dragon, that sort of thing. But obviously he doesn't want to flip it here because we just give him a Cyber Valley and then we take his Rock Golem and then it's like fine, but it's not great, you know? He's going to try to take something like a Fortress or something more effective. We do draw into Caius, which is really nice. So I'm going to special back the Gear Frame, sack the Gear Frame for Caius, and then Caius targets the level limit. So because we have a higher density of spot removal in this deck, we're not relying on like kind of gimmicky cards like Giant Trunade. We're playing like real fucking tangible threats like Caius the Shadow Monarch. We are able to get rid of this limited bomb level limit, no pun intended. And we can't really do anything this turn. We could have switched the Fortress, but there's really no point in that because we can't attack because the Swords are Revealing Light. So, yeah, that's that. He's going to set. He's going to flip Medusa Worm, pop the Cyber Valley. So, really ugly situation for us. Then he's going to flip the Dummy Golem and get Caius the Shadow Monarch. Here, I think my opponent makes a game-losing misplay. I think if he would have not done this, he probably would have beat us. Pretty scary draw from him. 3 power limited cards, all of which are like pretty strong against our deck. He starts off with the Grand Mole here. Grand Mole can bounce the Dummy Golem and just get him like super, super far ahead. But he makes the mistake of attacking in the wrong order. He attacks with Caius the Shadow Monarch over Machina Fortress, and Machina Fortress gets his effect, and that can blow up the Neospatian Grand Mole. Had he not misplayed here, had he maybe just Grand Moled the Fortress or not even attacked with the Caius, you know, just flip the Medusa down, Grand Mole the Fortress, pass the turn, I think we might have lost this game. I think this Grand Mole would have been really difficult for us to beat. So, yeah. Grand Mole game 1 for us is... it's just not easy. We got enemy controller, and that is all. That is like our only way to really interact with it. So when your opponent is like kind of stalling you down, stalling you out with some of these cards like Swords, Level Limit, Gravity Bind, that type of thing, this card can be really, really oppressive versus us. He's going to go ahead and lose his Grand Mole and then flip his Medusa Worm back down. We're still not in a great spot, but it's significantly better than it was, I don't know, 5 seconds ago. I go ahead and normal summon Scrap Recycler, and I try to send a Gear Frame so I can draw another card. So both times this guy's been drawn, both times he's gotten me a fresh draw and a little body, and we find another Gear Frame. So not a bad draw, but not a great draw either. Just pass. We can always brain control the Caius at any moment, try to kill his Medusa Worm. He's going to set a monster. He's going to go Medusa Worm, pop the Scrap Recycler, and attack over the Dummy Golem. So, pretty ugly for us. We are now down cards. Well, yeah, we are now down cards. And we are going to lose 500 life points as well. But we're going to be able to drop Gores, so that's pretty good. We get Gores, we get the 500 token, and we're going to pass. Or he's going to pass. We draw Cyber Valley. Great draw, once again. Conversion for the Brain Control. Conversion for this 500 little bitch monster that we got. He's going to go ahead and activate Gravity Bind in the battle phase. And that gives me an opportunity to summon Gear Frame and get my last Fortress out of the deck. I was thinking of going for Cyber Valley to banish the token, but I didn't want to leave myself with only Gores in play and take accumulative chip damage. So he's had a pretty strong draw here, like 4 limited cards, and they're all pretty annoying, but we've been able to sort of parse our way through things. Worst case scenario too, let's say we manage to kill the Kaya somehow, like we brain control it, sack it for Cyber Dragon. We can always use Cyber Valley to put the Kaius back on top of our deck and then reuse it as spot removal. So another nice case of Cyber Valley just buying back your power cards and allowing you to play through some of these like annoying floodgates that can be really difficult for you to deal with en masse. He banishes a card for Rock Spirit, which basically confirms to me that he's playing like Pac-Man Mega Rock, which is an interesting deck, especially if you draw into your power cards. I think Mega Rock Dragon is kind of slept on. Banishing only 4 rocks gets you a 2800, which is pretty strong. It does lose to a couple of commonly played things like, Compulse Book. That's obviously annoying, but just having a 2800 that you can drop out of nowhere is pretty strong, and you can kind of stall out till you get to that point pretty effectively in this deck. So he's going to flip Medusa Worm, pop the Gores. I think there's maybe better ways to play this deck than utilizing the Rock Spirit. It seems a little counterintuitive, but it can be tribute fodder if he plays his own Kaius or his Dark Callings or something like that. So it's not the worst card he could play. And Gigantes would be a little bit unintuitive with all of the back row that he's playing. He flips the Medusa Worm and the Golem Sentry, bounces the token, pops the Gores, passes the turn back to us, and we find Threatening Roar, which is pretty useless in this matchup. I'm going to pitch Special Summon Fortress and set Threatening Roar and pass. He's going to flip Golem Sentry. We're going to activate Fortress, and we're going to be able to see his hand. And as you can see here, he is playing that sort of like stall Mega Rock OTK style deck. We're going to go ahead and take Morphing Jar 2 because it's the most annoying card here. The other 2 cards don't really do anything, especially with Gravity Bind up, so I'll pretty happily just take the Morphing Jar, and Fortress gets bounced. He flips Medusa Worm, pops the Gear Frame. We're only taking 500 though because of his own Gravity Bind. He's going to tribute set the Guardian Sphinx to play around Mirror Force first, and then attack us for 500, sets the Medusa, passes back, we draw Terraforming. So we're slowly building up to like some type of OTK. I'm just not really sure the best way to go about it. I decided to just pitch Special Fortress, and if he wants to target this, then we can rip his Mega Rock Dragon. You'll see the card in his hand is a very interesting card. Broken Blocker. Activate only when a defense position monster you control, whose defense is higher than its attack, is destroyed by battle. So that means Golem Sentry or Medusa Worm. You can special summon up to 2 monsters with the same name as that monster from your deck in defense position. This is a fucking cool card. This is a really fucking cool card because it's like, let's say we attack over the Medusa Worm, right? And we have 2 monsters in play or whatever. He activates Broken Blocker. He gets 2 more Medusa Worms on our turn. On his turn, he uses their effects, sets them both, and then can use them to pop our whole board. So it's kind of like a jank Mirror Force that also loads up his graveyard for Mega Rock Dragon. It's a card I've never really seen utilized effectively, but it's really, really cool in this type of deck. And I think he's cooking here. I think the opponent is cooking here. And this is part of the reason I wanted to show off this match in general, is just because I think there's some really cool ideas that, could be really useful. Similar thing with the Dummy Golem. Well, actually, Dummy Golem isn't, the stats aren't right for it, but yeah, it doesn't work with those stats. But it could work with the Golem or the Medusa Worm very effectively. It could even work with the Guardian Sphinx, which is kind of funny. Or it could work with no, that's it. That's fucking it. I'm trying to think. There's a Guardian statue it could work with. That's similar to this. Cool card. Really, really cool card. I think I don't know. Just very unique. Very, very unique. It fills 2 roles kind of. Anyway, he bounces my card. He attacks me for 500. Same shit as last turn. We're just trying to find an out. And we finally do. We find Mystical Space Typhoon. So I'm just going to special Cyber Dragon, Typhoon the Gravity Bind, attack the Medusa Worm, hope to kill it, and that's going to work. Main phase 2, Cyber Valley, try to banish both to draw 2, and we find Phantom Sky Blaster, who could potentially be very useful in this matchup. We've got Threatening Roar, so we're not really under a ton of pressure this turn. We can kind of just pass. He's going to Terraforming, find Canyon. Now this card is terrible, Canyon, by the way, because it says if a rock type monster in defense position is attacked, double any battle damage to the controller of the attacking monster. This card is just bad. I don't know, probably shouldn't be in the opponent's deck, but he's on theme. I'll say that much. He's on theme. So yeah, activates the Canyon, goes ahead and then banishes everything, tries to summon the Mega Rock that we know about. So this is 2800 Mega Rock. He's going to attack for 2400. I'm just going to Threatening Roar here. He could have tried to go for game, but he's been playing around Mirror Force very smartly this entire game. And yeah, I'm just going to fire the Threatening Roar because I don't want to take a billion damage. Anyway, we find limiter removal, which is nice. I go ahead and Brain Control, take the Mega Rock. That's going to give us a 2800 beater that can run over this. Now, I couldn't remember at this moment if Guardian Sphinx is when it's flipped summoned or flipped face up. So I was like, I should probably have read it before going for this play, because I pitched my Gajildron Dragon to summon Machina Fortress, and I'm like, dang, now I have to double treat Machina Fortress. That's kind of feels bad, man, but whatever. I know Guardian Statue, or Golem Sentry, not Guardian Statue. Golem Sentry is like when it's flip summoned, because I've played with this card before, but I've never really played with Guardian Sphinx. He's going to use Broken Blocker and special summon a Golem Sentry from his deck. I'm kind of shocked he isn't playing the full 3. That was another thing that I was like, why would you not get 2? Anyway, we run over the Guardian Sphinx. Main phase 2, tribute summon Machina Fortress. He finds Release from Stone. So now something he could do is he could set his Golem Sentry using the effect and then flip it and bounce my Fortress. And we would actually be in a pretty bad spot if he did that. We'd take 3200 and we'd have to draw a machine or else we would lose. But he decides not to do that. He decides to just set his Golem Sentry. And we would have drawn a machine, so that's pretty nice. But then he would have been able to use Release from Stone to bring back his Neospatian Grammel and then bounce our Machina Fortress and then probably game shot us. So, yeah, had he gone for that play, I think he would have won this game, which is pretty crazy. Despite the fact that he's playing a card like fucking Canyon in his deck, or like the Rock Spirit, the sheer amount of power cards he's found, the level limit, the Neospatian, the the Gravity Bind, and the Swords of Revealing Light, all kind of like added up to this like position he's in, where I'm at low enough life total where, you know, I could have just gotten owned by like a turn or two of this Caius going uncontested. That being said, we're able to normal summon Sky Blaster, get our tokens. Finally, we have the initiative to be able to utilize Sky Blaster here, which is very nice. This is going to protect us from Mirror Force a little bit, and it's going to allow us a pivot. So even if he is able to make a comeback here, we have defensive options that we contribute for Ancient Gear Golem. We're going to attack over Caius finally. We're going to attack over the set Golem Sentry, and we're just going to pass the turn. Here he's going to set his monster. He's going to flip Release from Stone. I have no idea what this card is. I've never seen this card. This card is flip summon. You can switch the original attack and defense of one face-up Earth monster on the field till the end of this turn. This card seems terrible. This card seems like really, really bad. It's probably just one of those things where it's like a card he likes. You know what I mean? Kind of like how we're playing Scrap Recycler. He's going to Release from Stone, back the Grammel, bounce the Machina Fortress, but this isn't going to be good enough. Because on our turn, we're going to be able to summon the Fortress if we wanted to. Just bounce the Sky Blaster because I want to flex this card a little bit more. We're playing a fun matchup. Let's get 4 Sky Blaster tokens in play. Maybe start putting on the pressure that way. See what he wants to do about it. He's going to normal Medium Peace Golem. Not even attack the Sky Blaster because he doesn't want me to be able to put one of these guys in play. But I contribute these tokens, so probably should have attacked. Tribute for Ancient Gear Beast. Just run over his guy. Takes 400. Set pass. He sets a Medusa or a Deslakuta. This card doesn't make a lot of sense in his deck, but like it does make sense. But there are so much like rock synergies that I think he should max the Golem Sentry first before deciding to include shit like Great Spirit or Deslakuta or whatever the fuck. Anyway, we terraforming here, grab the Gear Town, sacrifice the token. This game is over. This game is just over. We don't even need to narrate from this point on. We've won this game, so yeah. Pierce and attack for 11. He's just going to concede because we have so many resources at that point. This game, we open up with Jinzo, which when it was still in my sideboard, I had a Jinzo here. It's not very useful. I found that it was a little bit too difficult to summon. And he's got Swords of Revealing Light again, which is really annoying. Hold on, my mouse battery's dying. Let me switch out the batteries real quick so we can continue this replay. Oh my gosh. I'll take this as a moment to say like and subscribe. If you like this deck, if you think this deck is cool, if you think Phantom Sky Blaster is a cool card, because I do, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you try this deck out. I actually really like Phantom Sky Blaster. I think it has a lot of utility in a bunch of different decks. Like, not just this deck, but just any deck where you can take advantage of like 2100 power. Why is this shit just not working for me, bro? Let's go, mouse. Come on. Please. I need this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's pretty useful. I've found him very useful in Flamville, because you can Rekindling out 2 Magicians and then summon him, and you have... It's 2 cards for 2 8-stars, which is good card economy. Come on, man. I deserve this. Alright, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to try different batteries. We're going to try different batteries, because those ones were just not it. They were not working. Bro, this is like a fucking trip right now. Come on, man. Dude, I've had a hell of a week. I like can't even begin to describe to you guys the week I've had. And to top it all off, if my mouse breaks here, oh no, it looks like it's connecting. Come on, bro. Come on, I need this. I deserve this. Why is it blinking like that? What does blinking mean? Bro, what are you blinking? You're Abe blinking right now, bro. Fucking 4 score and fucking work, man. I'm trying to fucking play this game. Holy shit. What's going on, dude? Fucking... Let's go, dog. Let's go. Connect. Connect. It's blinking 2 lights. Oh, there we go. We got connected. Oh my god. If the mouse broke this far into the video, I would... Oh my... Anyway, I'm not cutting that shit out. You guys are getting the full extent. What the fuck is this? Rock Bombardment. Foolish as a rock. Inflicts 500 to your opponent. This is kind of a cool card. This is kind of a cool card. I feel like it's like... Foolish Burial, but chainable. It's a shame that rock monsters suck, but it is a cool artwork as well of like the Royal Decree getting destroyed. The castle and Royal Decree. It's kind of fucking cool. I can't lie. Especially because we have the Royal Decree. So it's like kind of cool to see like the artwork on both sides. You know? That's pretty funny. Anyway, we set the Royal Decree. We drew our 1-ofs. Very powerful. He's going to set his monster. We draw Heavy Storm. Oh my god, it's over. Just flip Decree. Heavy Storm to play around. Whatever. Normal Scrap Recycler, Send Fortress, Pitch, Special Fortress, Attack. You know the vibes. He said Grand Mole because he doesn't know the rulings. You would just normal summon Grand Mole. Once again, we would just fucking lose the Grand Mole. Holy shit. Sky Blaster is pretty good for Grand Mole, to be fair. But, yeah. He just submits defeat because he's over it. He's got a Grand Mark. He's got some crazy cards in his deck. I think what I like about this opponent is he was cooking. But what I would recommend for like anyone who's like cooking... like, for example, adding Phantom Sky Blaster into your Ancient Gear deck. Just try, like, 1 or 2 things. Don't try everything all at once. And make sure your fundamentals are good before you start cooking. Because even if you do have, like, some good ideas, you might not recognize which ideas are good if you just don't know the way the cards work. Like, setting Neospacian Grand Mole, for example. Or not chaining the Rock Bombardment to the Royal Decree, for example. Or whatever. But you get the idea. I think that, like, you got to make sure you know your rulings. You got to make sure you know your fundamentals before you start cooking. Very cool deck from the opponent here. It looked very interesting and played a lot of cards that I've never seen before. So, yeah, I figured I'd showcase it even though the match was not the most competitive. All right, moving on. Next one is versus Gentra. I think this is a mirror match. Yes, this is a mirror match. So, Ancient Gear mirror match. He says, I don't play this format. I'm like, all right, shit. I'll let you know if there's some ruling shit. He's going to summon Gear Frame. I'm going to summon Gear Frame. I'm going to search Fortress. I do win the die roll. I'm just going to go over, like, how this matchup works, and I'm going to show both sides of it. He's going to draw for a turn. He's going to find Terraforming. So he's going to Terraform. He's going to try and find Gear Town. So, generally speaking, for my opponent, if Gentra is watching this game, you'll notice that I held my Terraformings. You want to hold your Terraformings because it leaves you a higher percentage chance of drawing Gear Town and having something to combo with your Gear Town. You actually don't want to thin the Gear Towns out of your deck. You want to draw multiples. So Terraforming here for the Gear Town is not a good play. Generally speaking, you hold your Terraformings. The only time you want to search Gear Town is when you're about to use it. Otherwise, you want to draw into it because it's the best card in your deck. So, and it's only good in multiples. He's going to set the Gear Town. Maybe try to protect himself from Heavy Storm, who knows. He's going to special Cyber Dragon. He can make Chimera Tech with my monster here, and he should, honestly. He should make Chimera Tech with my monster, because if I have any other monster that's a machine that I can normal summon, or, just an easy way to get Fortress into play, I can eat his Cyber Dragon for free. So First things first is you always want to hold on to your terraformings, a little bit of a fundamental thing. And then you do always want to make the Chimera Tech when you can. Even though it leaves you with a weaker monster, it doesn't give your opponent the opportunity to make the Chimera Tech with your Cyber Dragon. So he's going to attack over the gear frame. We're going to take, whatever, 300. He's going to set Dust Shoot. He's going to set Bottomless, and he's going to pass to us. He's going to Dust Shoot us, and I'm like, well, this kind of sucks, but I can still, at the very least, terraforming and Gear Town play him if I need to. He's going to take Machina Fortress, and I'm like, you know what? I've got a Threatening Roar. This guy left the Cyber Dragon in play. There's a chance that I can just like take 21 and just hold off for a few more turns until I find a machine to eat his Cyber Dragon for free. So I'm just not going to commit. He's going to find his own Gear Town. He's going to go ahead and send his Gear Town to activate his own Gear Town. And yeah, I let him know that third ruling thing here that you should know about this deck if you are going to play it on the ladder or against your friends or at your locals or whatever, even in RBET, who knows. You do have to set Gear Town over your own Gear Town in Edison format. If you activate it, then it will miss timing. So you have to set it first. And so I'm letting him know that he needs to set it here first. And we decided that, he set it here first, because that's what he was intending on doing. But if you are in a tournament and you activate Gear Town over your own Gear Town, you will miss timing, and that will be a tournament mistake, and you cannot take that back in a tournament. So yeah, he's going to special summon out the Gear Gajiltron. Start battle phase. In order to play around limited removal, I am going to Threatening Roar. So now he has to Chimera Tech away his own Gear Dragon if he wants to. He's just going to pass. I'm going to find another copy of Gear Town. And so now I'm going to try to bait the back row first, I believe. Yeah. Gear Town pop his Gear Town. And then I think in this instance, if I activate Gear Town, I'm pretty sure it will actually activate. Don't ask me why the fuck it works like that. Edison is dumb as shit. The rulings are really stupid. If your opponent activates a field spell, I do believe Gear Town does activate. Let's go ahead and double check that just so I'm like not scamming you guys on rulings. Shout out edisonformat.com. Individual card rulings. Gear Town. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. I've seen that. Okay. Let's see. You can activate this effect if an opponent field spell resolves, destroying your face-up Gear Town. Exactly. So when I activate my Gear Town, he can special summon Gajiltron from his deck. Now, I'm not saying he should do that. He should probably elect not to use the optional effect of Gear Town here because it's going to make me have a stronger Chimera Tech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Chimera Tech. And this is one of those mistakes that you make once and you never make again. Don't ever leave your Cyber Dragon in play for your opponent to just go +4 on you. He's going to Bottomless Trap Hole. I basically cleared his whole field and I lost nothing. So yeah, very, very tough for him. And now we're just going to be able to OTK because we have 2 more Gear Towns. And like I said, we left those Gear Towns in deck, so we were able to draw into them, more likely to draw into them, and be able to go for this play. So always hold your terraformings with this deck. And yep, we go to game 2. This is just like one of those games that I figured like, even though, again, it's not the most competitive game, I think it's important because if you're a newer player watching this, it showcases basically all of the mistakes you could make playing this deck and will help you prevent making them, basically. So he's going to go first this game, and he's going to show off he's on Pot of Avarice, which is fucking cool, actually. I think it's pretty strong. He's going to Gear Town and activate set his Gear Town. Once again, don't do this. Just don't do this. He's going to go Gear Frame, search for Fortress, especially because he has an OTK hand, right? If he draws a Gear Town next turn, he can go Gear Town, set Gear Town, get a Gajiltron, Heavy Storm, get a second Gajiltron, pitch Fortress for Fortress, and that's well over 8,000, right? So he has an OTK hand if he just draws into a Gear Town next turn. So what he should do is hold the terraforming very clearly. He's just going to pass. Our hand isn't great, but it's not terrible. We have a couple of options. I actually think the best option would have been Cyber Dragon into Chimera Tech, normal Sky Blaster, get 3 tokens. Get 2 tokens, right? Hold on. Let me calculate this. Yeah, get 2 tokens. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Special Cyber Dragon, make Chimera Tech, normal Sky Blaster, get 2 tokens. I think that's the best play because it walls off his reversal OTK that he could possibly have, and it builds our board up enough so that we could potentially tribute summon for these Gajiltron Dragons or whatever in the future. It just gets us a very wide board that's difficult to OTK through. Instead, I go for Gear Frame, and this is actually not very good, because if he has his own Cyber Dragon, all of a sudden our board is not that wide. I pitch, special the Fortress. Fortress attacks Gear Frame. You know the vibes. Attack for 18. And I'm kind of cooked here, honestly, because if he has Cyber Dragon, I just kind of fucking lose. He goes Heavy Storm. Shouldn't activate this Heavy Storm. This is a misplay on his part. He should set the Heavy Storm, and then he should use card destruction. If he sets the Heavy Storm, then if he draws into another Gear Town, he could potentially get multiple Gear Town effects off. And on top of that, if he draws into Cyber Dragon, it will still be live, and he won't have to tribute summon it. He'll be able to special summon his Cyber Dragon. So, pretty big misplay there. Definitely not sequencing his cards correctly. Special summons the Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon, activates card destruction. We draw 4 new cards. He's going to discard his hand. He's going to draw 4 new cards. He's going to find another Pot of Avarice and some back row, which will help him survive. We lose the Gear Frame. He sets 2, passes a turn. We're going to attack with Fortress. He's going to try to book a Moon here. I actually think this is a bad play on his part because the Fortress is going to kill the Gajiltron no matter what. He should just take the 1-for-1 trade and preserve his Book of Moon for a card that he can actually run over, like a Gajiltron Dragon on my end. I go ahead and summon Phantom Skyblaster here just to get tokens in play so we can go wide in case anything goes crazy. And then, yeah, he's going to go ahead and run over the Skyblaster. We're going to take 19. He's going to kill a token. That's fine. We still have the token left over. We have a bunch of different plays we can make. I flip the Machina Fortress. He goes bottomless. I go chain enemy controller, take his Machina Fortress, sack his Fortress for Caius. Caius target the Gajiltron. He chains Torrential. And then I'm going to pitch Special Fortress, hit for 25. Hopefully he doesn't have anything to deal with his Fortress, like a Cyber Dragon off the top. Here, it's Mirror Force is pretty strong. He's going to go for the Pot of Avarice, which is also really strong. And it's maybe a card I should consider for this build as well, because we do a great job of just like getting a bunch of monsters in the grave pretty quickly. He's going to find Compulsory and Mirror Force here. We just attack. He's going to take 25 for God knows what reason. If we had Limiter, he would have just lost. He draws Gear Frame, summons Gear Frame, pitches Specials Fortress, bounces our Fortress, and I'm just like, oh man, that's crazy. He's going to attack. But he's at 500. And you can see here that we can summon the Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. And that's going to play through Mirror Force for game. So he definitely should have cooked us this game. He just played his cards wrong. And that's kind of an interesting thing to look at. He's playing a very different list from us. A lot of back row. Torrential Tribute is interesting. Card Destruction is very interesting. Pot of Avarice, multiple Pot of Avarice is very interesting. Power Bond is spicy. So maybe some other ideas if you guys want to cook your own ideas with this deck. Maybe a combination attack where like you have, Compulsory and you also have the Skyblaster is very useful. I've noticed when I was siding in the Compulsories, being able to bounce Skyblaster kind of gives you this cool little infinite blocker type thing, which is really sick. So yeah, some combination of these cards could be very useful in the future if you want to do that. But yeah, we're going to be able to set up the Gear Dragon, and that's just going to be all she wrote. And yeah, GG's to the opponent. Hopefully he learned something from this match. It's nice to play the mirror match when you don't know anything, because then you get to see how it's done. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, moving on. Next match is up against Acid Benzos, which is like crazy username. We lose the rock, paper, scissors, and dude, let me tell you, I think this is the most unlucky I've gotten in a match in a very long time. He starts off with Rhoda for Armageddon Knight, Allure of Darkness, banish the Armageddon Knight. This is 99% going to be Value Turbo. Sets monster, pass the turn back. We draw Ancient Gear Golem. I just pass. He sets, passes. We draw a Space Typhoon, which is nice. Just set that pass. He flips Raikou, targets Space Typhoon. Space Typhoon targets his Heavy Storm. So get owned. He mills 3, hits Necrogardener. So already a good mill. 1 hit. Sacks for Sirocco, attacks for 2k. We've got Gores. He can now flip the Raikou to pop one of these, but he doesn't do that. So right now my prediction is that his set is Value and his back row is like Mirror Force. Unfortunately, we are going to get owned by a 1 of Icarus attack. I'm going to tribute for Caius, and he's going to get his 2 for 2 here. Just solid 2 for 2, but he came out on top because we don't have a normal summon, and we don't have a... Fuck, I forget what it is. Anyway, I think this is a Value, but I decide to commit into it anyway, and shows off it's a Raikou. So my opponent goes Raikou, target, we hand rip, and we get a look at his hand. The only way he has to beat Machina Fortress here is Mirror Force. So what are we going to do? take Mirror Force, right? That's the only way he has to beat beat Machina Fortress. So he mills one, then accidentally shuffles his deck, mills another Vayu, mills Sirocco. So, wow, crazy. Omega tilted. Like, I get it. Random deck's a random deck, and a misclick happened, but holy shit. 4 good mills out of 6. Wow, must be nice. Set the Threatening Roar because we fucking have to. Oh, what a lovely top deck. The only card in your deck that can stop Machine Fortress from just wrecking your shit without me having a live enemy controller. Bottomless, we would have been fine. We just chain enemy controller, take his guy. This, however, oh my god, fucking bullshit, right? We draw Cyber Valley, pitch, Special Fortress, he's got Oppression. Since this is not technically summoned in that instance, we can't chain enemy controller to take his guy, and then Cyber Valley banish it away. So, fuck me, right? Fuck me. What an insane bullshit sequence of events. But yeah, I guess Acid Benzos is going to get us like the Acid Benzos. He's going to make Armed Wing, and because he milled that fucking Necro Guard now, we can't even reversal him by sacking our guy and crashing his guys. So, yeah, kind of bullshit. Not going to lie, kind of bullshit. Going to summon Cyber Valley, force him to do his Kaya's thing. Dude, look at this guy's draws, man. Oppression into Gores into Dad. What a fucking lucker, man. Anyway, game two. You know, he said GG. I said get fucked. That Oppression top deck was crazy and that mill. But this game, we've got Best Boy, Good Dog, Ancient Gear Beast. This guy fucks Vayu Turbo upside the face, dude. This card destroys Vayu Turbo. It's like, oh, Raikou, lol. Hamster, lol. Even set Vayu, negate it permanently, lol. Run over everything, gets through D Prison. Class act. Ancient Gear Beast. That's my dog, dude. Literally. Anyway, Gear Frame, searches Machina Fortress. You know the vibes. Summon it because I don't want to play into fucking Bottomless. I don't want to play into Royal Oppression. I figured it's more likely for him to have Bottomless Royal Oppression than have Cyber Dragon. So, yeah, just make it happen. He goes ahead and normal summon Sirocco. I'm just going to fucking Threatening Roar here because I want to deal with none of that shit. Anyway, he's going to Dust Shoot us. Okay. Takes the Fortress. Basically confirming he has like some type of like D-Prison bullshit. Anyway, I sack for Caius. Target the back row. Turns out it's Bottomless. Maybe I should have targeted the Sirocco. I don't know. I didn't want to play in a Mirror Force. He took the Fortress, so I was thinking maybe D-Prison. And if we banish the D-Prison, then we just have Kai's Fortress, which is like really formidable. Yeah, because he took Fortress, I was thinking he had D-Prison, but he just didn't. So, I don't know. Either way, we still have our Fortress, so it's like, it's fine. -1, but whatever. Draw for turn. Ancient Gear Beast, baby. Attack for 25. He takes it, so no D-Prison. Alright, nice. Sets monster passes. We have Ancient Gear Beast. I'm just going to sack for it. He's going to ask if he can crow, or I think he's going to crow the Fortress here. I'm like, okay, cool. So that makes sense. I think he was asking if he could crow the Fortress earlier when I like summoned it the first time by pitching Ancient Gear Beast. Anyway, he lets this through. We attack the guy. Alright. He doesn't Bottomless us. Nice. He doesn't understand. Alright, you're at 5,000 though. You got time. Maybe just pass. No? You want to set the Greffer? Nice little misplay for the home team. Gotta get him where we can, right? Attack the Greffer with the Gear Beast. He finds Solemn Judgment. Oh my gosh. One more attack, baby. 2,000. Nothing he can do. He draws Vayu. Okay. Sets Vayu, passes. Attack the Vayu. Permanently negated. Try to activate Vayu. Can't. It's negated. Including in the graveyard, baby. Oh my gosh. He sets Royal Oppression. Draw for turn. Attack with Gear Beast. Activate limiter removal. Even if he could Solemn this, which he can't because spell and trap cards cannot be activated till the end of the damage step, he would have to pay life points, and he would lose no matter what. So, owned. Ancient Gear owned, baby. Anyway, we go next game. And our hand's pretty good. We got Sky Blaster, we got Mole, we got Cyber Valley. We got a lot of value cards here. He sets, passes. We got Fortress. So I'm just going to go Sky Blaster, summon a token. Hopefully he can't out both of them. And if he can, it's going to be something like Greffer into Armed Wing. And we can like bounce the Armed Wing and be in a decent spot, I guess. Attack directly for 11. Deal a little bit of damage. Pass the turn back. He summons Sirocco. Attacks over the Sky Blaster. Alright, but we have this extra body, which is kind of useful. We can use it with Cyber Valley. We can use it with Caius if we draw that. We draw into Gajiltron Dragon, which is pretty good. So I'm going to pitch Special Fortress, try to bait the back row. I don't know if this was a correct play. I think upon hindsight, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this was a correct play. I should have maybe kept my Fortress access. Either way, we've got the Gear Town, sacrifice the token for Gear Giltron Dragon. You can kind of see the value that Sky Blaster gave us. He gave us a little bit of a block. He gave us a tribute monster for this Giltron Dragon. And now, even though we are down 2 cards, we are up position and we got Granmole for like potential follow-up like Raikou, that sort of thing. Because he bottomless the Fortress, I figured he didn't have Deep Prison in his hand. So that my Granmole would be safe. Like normally you would want to use the Deep Prison on the Fortress because you can't use the Deep Prison on the Giltron Dragon. So, I don't know. A little bit unlucky here. He decides to keep his Dark Arm Dragon in hand because he thinks he's going to be able to mill. Man, if I had Gear Beast, you just lose. He sets, passes. I draw Caius. And here I have an opportunity to win the game by just sacrificing this, targeting a set monster, that sort of thing. But I figured, what are the chances he has Deep Prison? He didn't shuffle his hand. Why would you bottomless the Fortress if you had Deep Prison? Like, granted, maybe he's just like trying to take every opportunity he can to banish the Fortress. Maybe he didn't know the Giltron was coming. Maybe he was just like, okay, I have bottomless for this Fortress, Deep Prison for the next one. And that's not necessarily terrible. And maybe I should have thought of that. Because I think if I do that, then I could like summon Sky Blaster here, get a couple of tokens, be pretty insulated. Or I could sack for Caius, target one of his cards, be pretty insulated that way, probably target the Raikou, switch the Giltron. Oh no, the Giltron would be dead. Just attacking at the Deep Prison. And then I'd still have the Granmole Sky Blaster to kind of own him for the rest of the game. But yeah, I summoned Granmole, and he has Deep Prison. So that's pretty unfortunate. And then I attack the Raikou, and then another pretty unfortunate circumstance. He mills 2 Darks, so fuck me, right? I think you're actually unlikely to mill 2 Darks off of a single mill. I think on average you should mill 1 Dark in Value Turbo. I could be wrong. So it's 3 insane mills from the opponent this match. Pops the Gear Town, special summons Giltron Dragon, pops the Giltron Dragon. And not much I can do there. Yeah, not much I can do. He attacks for 28. We still have Brain Control as a top deck that gets us out of this. We still have Enemy Controller, which does get us out of this because we can Sky Blaster, get a token, Enemy Controller, sack the Sky Blaster, take the Dark Arm Dragon, attack for 28, attack for 500, even. Then use Dark Arm Dragon to banish the Sky Blaster to pop itself. So we still do have a couple of outs here. Gear Frame can buy us an extra turn maybe. If this is a Raikou, he has a Torrential set. We draw Gear Frame, and I'm like, okay, if that's a Raikou, I might have an extra turn. Gear Frame, search the Fortress, attack the set monster, and turns out it's just a hamster, and we die next turn. So, fucking cool. Awesome. Mills 3. Finally gets a bad mill when it doesn't matter, after he's already sacked us. Attacks. Attacks for 28. Doesn't switch the hamster. Kind of interesting. Battle Fader here would have been kind of nice. He would have been forced to pop, but Cyber Dragon also gets us out of this. We have quite a few like decent draws. He sets another back row, and we just draw another Caius, so kind of unlucky. I would say I got incredibly unlucky this game. I would say this is like the first match, or the first game was just like violently unlucky. And then this game, like, I had the wrong read on the Deep Prison, I think. I'm also kind of surprised that he left the Deep Prisons in, but I could have, like, you know, factored that he's an inexperienced player, and because he was siding Crow and didn't know how Machina Fortress works, I could have factored in that he would have left in the Deep Prisons, not realizing how bad they are against Ancient Gear Giltron Dragon. Another thing I could have done too was attack with the dragon first, but yeah, I don't know. I think the same outcome still happens. Anyway, on to the next replay, which is up against Shane O'Mac, which is versus Christius Warren, which is a terrifying matchup. Not a good matchup. It's a matchup where you have to rush them down, and our build isn't like the worst at rushing them down, but it's not the best either, game 1 especially. We have a lot of defensive cards, double Battle Fader, triple Cyber Valley, that sort of thing. These cards are very defensive. Even Sky Blaster by nature is a little bit defensive. That being said, post board we can side out all of those cards. We can go in with the Ancient Gear Beast, the double Karma Cuts, the double Compulsory, and we can get really, really aggressive. So Could get good, could get bad for us. That being said, it's my turn to get incredibly, insanely fucking broken lucky and just have a turn 1 OTK through Honest. I'm pretty sure he does have the Honest. No, he doesn't. He has nothing. He has Gores. I have game through Gores too, which is hilarious. So, yep, Gear Frame, Search Fortress, Pitch, Special Fortress, Gear Town, and that's going to be all she wrote with the limiter removal. So, attack, damage step, limiter removal, go ahead and deal a bajillion, then attack for 6,000 through the Gores. So, yeah, that's going to be that. GG. Game 2. Like I said, side in all the aggressive stuff because this is a tough matchup. He's on 42 cards. Can't imagine that's correct. Definitely want to see Solar Recharge every single game. He's going to open with Solar Recharge, draw 2 mill 2, and his mills are not great. So that's good for us. He's going to set a monster pass. We're going to draw for turn, and we're just going to normal summon Sky Blaster and poke at the Raikou. So we have an extra token, and we're going to be able to deal 500 damage here, which is really nice. This is a nice thing about Sky Blaster is, again, just leaves a token around after you kill a Raikou, and then your opponent has to deal with the token or else it can level up into a stronger monster later, whether that's a Caius or a Gear Town guy or whatever. And on top of that, 500 is actually really crucial damage. You'll notice that a lot of the OTK setups with this deck, like let's say, like, I don't know, you have to run over a monster, you only deal 7,000 or something like that. This extra chip damage is very useful, and you'll see it in this game as well. So, yeah, this turn I just set Torrential. I'm not really sure if that's correct. He just summons Card Trooper and runs over our token, so a little bit shitty, but the token did get its value there, so that's not too bad. He sets a back row and passes. We have a Phantom Sky Blaster, which is really nice. We're going to go ahead and Terraforming. I'm just going to go for it, because I'm like, what the fuck are the chances he has, like, anything? Like, okay, so look at this circumstance. We go Gear Town, set Gear Town, summon the Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. That's 3,000 damage. And then Sky Blaster, which gets us 2 tokens. That's 2,100 damage. That's 5,100 damage. And then Limiter Removal is an extra 3,000 damage. So that's 8,100 damage over the Card Trooper, which is 7,700 damage. So normally that wouldn't have been an OTK, but because we got that 500 chip damage from the Sky Blaster earlier, it was. So, yeah, so assuming his back row is nothing, we just win the game. Once again, broken limiter removal. Crazy card. Just silly card. Special summon the Ancient Gear, normal summon Sky Blaster, and he's got Torrential. So I'm like, fuck. This is a little bit annoying too, because even if he chains Torrential to the Sky Blaster effect, there is, we won't get tokens, because I believe it counts on resolution. Yep. So, yeah. So, no tokens, whatever. He's going to get a card draw, so pretty bad. We kind of spent everything to get to this point. I'm going to set the Karma Cut and pass. JD priority would really own us here. It would just really cook us, but he's going to go for Lumina and Delilah first, which is nice, because that means I'm going to be able to utilize my Torrential Tribute to blow up both. Lila won't resolve there because it needs to switch to defense to resolve. He's going to special summon JD, priority activate JD, and this is kind of best case scenario. We get a chain Karma Cut to the JD. JD's going to pop our Gear Town, and we're going to get a Gajiltron Dragon into play. So, yeah, we ended up with a 3k monster, and he did not, and he has no JD, and yeah, we're kind of cooking here. He passes back. We can attack for 3k. He's going to take 3k. Pass back. He activates Beckoning Light. This is where things get interesting. I think, on my end, that he's going to go for Raikou, Jane, Honest, or he's going to go for Jane, Honest, Celestia. I'm not sure which one, though. That's what I thought he would go for. He ends up going for Raikou, Lila, Honest. I don't think that's very good. For a couple of reasons. But, I think getting rid of the Gear Dragon now, probably pretty important. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. Maybe the correct play is Raikou. Like, don't even think about the Honest. Maybe just Raikou, Celestia. Huh. No, that can't be right. Maybe it's like Raikou Chain on it. I don't know why Lila. Lila confuses me. I don't really understand it. Either way, we have sack for Ancient Gear Beast. And Ancient Gear Beast will negate the Raikou. So, a lot of people are going to have this question when you're playing this deck. Does Ancient Gear Beast negate flip effects? And I say yes. Effects that activate in substep 6. Resolve effects, Raikou, example Raikou, or other flip effects. If they would be destroyed by battle by Ancient Gear Beast, they are negated. And you can find the rulings on edisonformat.com with regards to this card. So that is going to negate his Raikou. That being said, he can Lila Honest over the Gear Beast, but then I have Gale to answer the Lila. So we're kind of in this back and forth situation. Pass the turn back. He's going to go ahead and Gold Sark for JD. So I've got 2 turns to deal 2,500 damage. Otherwise, this JD is going to own me, and I'm going to fucking lose. He's going to summon Lila and phase mill 3. Pretty smart play, using the Honest defensively and not offensively here. Just trying to buy him as much time as possible towards the JD. I do have Gale, but I top deck a bad card here. I top deck the 3rd Gajiltron Dragon. So a little bit unlucky, but it is going to happen. That's just how this deck works. We're going to Gale, have the Lila, and we've gotten pretty insanely lucky this entire game thus far, especially game 1, where we just OTK'd him on turn 2. Gale's going to attack the Lila. He's going to use Honest and damage. We're going to take 850. He's going to switch Lila to defense manually, not with the effect, and phase mills Necrogardna. So yeah, there's just no way we're going to be able to deal that amount of damage, and this JD's going to come down and it's going to cook us. So yeah, Lila's going to die. He's going to use the Gold Sark, get the JD, special the JD blows up. Special summons Christia, and that's game on board. So we concede and go to game 3. Game 3 is really interesting. So once again, I'm saying, like, you know, going first, you just want to have as many rush cards as possible. Karma Cut, very useful. Phantom Skyblaster, very useful. And this hand is really interesting. I have a couple of options. I could put Skyblaster, Machina Fortress, and 2 tokens into play turn 1. And I could do that pitching the Gajiltron Dragon. And then my Karma Cut would be pitching an Ancient Gear Beast. But that board is not very resilient to, like, set Raikou. So I figured that, like, maybe if I set Karma Cut, set Threatening Roar, I might be able to Karma Cut, pitch the Fortress, which gets me a free card, kind of, because then Gajiltron can turn into the Fortress. Just the same. It gives me a free discard on the Karma Cut. Or potentially, I could just discard, I could just set nothing, and then play the best around Raikou. I end up going set. I think this play is bad. I don't know. I'm not really sold on this play, but it doesn't matter. He ends up having set monster. And I'm kind of forced to go into a weird play here. I think maybe even normal Skyblaster would have been good. Because normal Skyblaster with the Karma Cut backup, then I could have sacked the token for the Gear Beast. Yeah, I think I should have normal Skyblaster turn 1. And taken advantage of the fact that, like, I need that extra time to utilize these normals. As it stands, I have to go -2 just to, like, fucking apply any amount of pressure here. Which is really ugly. We do get to negate the hamster, but I think had I utilized the Skyblaster on turn 1 there, I would have had a much better position in order to win the game. And I also could have gotten some burn damage, possibly some 600 burn damage as well. We attack for 25, pass the turn back, and you can see in his hand he's got Solar Recharge with Lila, so very, very strong. He's going to go ahead and do that. He could have heralded our Skyblaster had we gone for turn 1, but I just feel like it's very unlikely. He mills a second name, so already kind of off the races, goes Charge the Light Brigade, mills a 3rd name, and a Necrogardna, so really frustrating that he's kind of just getting fully set up here. He's going to go ahead and search Gareth. And you can see in his hand he's got JD Christia. Gareth will be the 4th name for him. Beckoning Light could ensure that that is the case. If he just sets double Beckoning, he can ensure that there are 4 names down and be able to JD me next turn. But that being said, if he does that, then he's going to be dead on board to the Skyblaster. So he can't really not do that. Anyway, he's going to normal summon Gareth, attack the Ancient Gear Beast. I'm going to try to Threatening Roar just because I don't want him to set up that JD. And then he's going to set pass. Here I'm going to normal summon Skyblaster, try to get 2 tokens, and he's actually going to let that resolve and not herald me, which is interesting. He has Necrogardna, so he can't really go for game, but it is really close. If he didn't mill Necrogardna here, we would have won this turn, I believe. He takes however much, and then he takes however much, and then he can't JD at the very least, I believe. Anyway, he Necrogardna's there. We attack, and then here I make the play of, if he has Royal Decree, he can no longer chain it to this Karma Cut. Attack with the Ancient Gear Beast. He can't do anything on the Declaration, so we Karma Cut the Gareth. That's going to be his 4th name to keep him off of JD. And then attack for 2k, and then attack for an additional 2100. So he drops to 1400 here, which is a pretty crucial number to be at. It means that, like, he can no longer, like, effectively crash into some of these cards. Like, he can't crash a Jane, which is his strongest monster, or a Wolf, which is his strongest monster, into Fortress to activate JD, because he'll drop to 1,000. So 1,400 is actually really good for us. He's going to drop for turn. He's going to set, activate Beckoning Light, pitch 3. But as you can see here, he still only has 3 names in circulation. So he's forced to get back Lila, JD, and Christia. He's forced to summon Lila, and unfortunately he's going to be able to, run over the Sky Blaster. Otherwise our burn damage would have put him out of JD range. So just kind of awkward situations from both of us, but yeah, he is going to be able to clear the Sky Blaster, not able to show off the burn effect in this match, and he does mill a Wolf. So, all around, he's got 3 names. He's got Wolf, he's got Lila, but once again, keep in mind that 1,400 is not a great life total to be at because he can't crash on the Machina Fortress with the Wolf. I draw Gear Town. I go Interbattle. He's going to flip Threatening Roar. We're going to go main phase 2, switch the tokens to defense. I could also switch the Gear Beast to defense, but I didn't want it to get errand for some reason. I don't know why I didn't want it to get errand. Anyway, so if you look at this circumstance, right, this situation, he's got Christia JD in hand, and we know that, right? We know he's got Christia JD in hand. If he wants to activate JD, he has to crash the Lila, or he has to find a way to get the Lila in the graveyard, right? So he has to find a Herald of Orange or a Celestia or something like that. His other set card's another Beckoning Light, right? So that is a way to get the Lila in the graveyard without having to crash it. So food for thought. Keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your mind. He's going to go ahead and, I'm going to pass the turn. Basically, I'm dead lost here. This is game 3. I'm dead lost. If he just flips the Beckoning, or if he, just switches his monsters. Well, I don't know. Hold on, let me think here. Am I dead lost? I guess I don't know about the Beckoning. But had I known about the Beckoning, I would have known that I was dead lost. So if we look at his hand, he's got Mirror Force, JD, Archler, Christia. He can go... Oh, dude, he drew Mirror Force. That's crazy. So if he Beckoning Lights, pitches his hand, gets back Herald... How many fairies he's got? He's got 4 fairies. So he just gets back Herald, Christia, JD. He goes normal Herald, synchro with Lila, JD, blow up the field, special Christia, and that should be all she wrote. Yeah. So he Beckoning Lights, pitches his hand, and then he just has to pray that I don't top deck Brain Control. So I guess I'm not dead lost. Actually, that doesn't even work. Oh, no, it does work. Yeah, it does work, because you'd have to Beckoning, Lila, activate, pop the Gear Town first. That's what I'm thinking here. Yeah, Beckoning, get Herald, JD, Christia. Lila, activate, pop the Gear Town. We special summon Gear. He normals Herald. He synchros into whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. Specials JD, blows up the field. Specials Christia, adds back whatever, Herald, doesn't matter. He has JD Christia. He hits me for 58. It gives me 1 turn to top deck. Alternatively, he could... There's no way he can keep the Mirror Force. There's no way he can keep the Mirror Force and have that line be available. He goes for a different line here, though. He goes for Lila, attack Ancient Gear Beast. And this is actually pretty critical because it drops into 1100. So he can activate JD here. He's going to special summon JD and activate it. Pays 1,000, blows up the whole board, including his Beckoning. And we're going to special summon out Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. So this can't be Mirror Forced. And even if he summons Christia, he has to summon it in defense. Yeah, he would have to summon Christia in defense. He proceeds to set 1, special Christia, activate, realizes his misplay, tries to take it back, and I'm like, come on, man. Come on, you going to try to take it back? That's whack. But it was whack because he, said lag. And then he says, sorry, trying to take back. I'm like, you summoned and declared it after thinking for a very long time. It's kind of frustrating, but I was like, he's like, if you want to end this great duel like that, we can. I said, I think you should own your misplays, but you can take it back. If you want to take it back, If you feel like, you can just do that and declare it and you want to take it back, then fine. You can take it back. That's totally fine. He clearly didn't realize he couldn't Mirror Force the Gajiltron Dragon until it was fairly too late, and he would have made the misplay in a tournament. That would have been binding, summon, and whatever. But I was like, let's take it back. And he's like, no, let's flip a coin. I'm like, all right, shit. He says, let God decide. So, incorporating a little bit of gambling. But, I was down to take it back. Let it be known on record. I was down to have a really, really great duel and see if my top deck would get me out of this situation. So, basically, the way things work is he's going to not be able to special summon Christia in attack. He would have to special summon it in defense, right? And he would have to add back, like, whatever. On our turn, we would just run over the Christia, which is fine. And if he milled another fairy with JD, it would have been live. If he milled 2 fairies with JD, then it would be dead. Who knows, right? Who knows what would have happened? Well, I guess we'll find out what would have happened. But, yeah, he does land on heads. He does decide to stick to his misplay. So, respectable from Shane here. Very, very respectable. Very honorable from this player to stick to his misplay, even if it is on a coin flip, lol. End phase, he mills 4 cards. And you can see here that he milled Aaron, Cold Wave, Threatening Roar, Torrential. So he would not have milled extra fairies. So if he specialed the Christian defense, add back a fairy. Then on our turn, Gajiltron run over Christia, puts the Christia to the top. He dead draws the Christia. It just creates an interesting dynamic. However, with the Christia in play, we can just attack with the Gajiltron and win, right? Like, that's just game. That being said, on his turn, had he just gone Beckoning, add back Herald, Christia, JD, I think he would have won, but I'm not certain of it. Our top deck was Threatening Roar, and I didn't check the next top deck. I don't think. I might have. Let's see, did I? No. So I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known. Let's say he made that play, right? And he puts us down quite low. We top deck Threatening Roar. We set Threatening Roar. He would have milled 4. He would have been down cards. He tries to kill us that turn. We Threatening Roar again. He mills another 4 cards. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what would have happened had he made that play instead? He would have had JD Christia plus 1 unknown in hand. Plus Herald, I think. I think the unknown would have been the same. I think it would have been Mega Hamster. Curious. We would have been drawing live to, what, Brain Control? I don't think Enemy Controller would have done it. Maybe, like, another Threatening Roar and, like, a chain of Threatening Roars and Battle Faders to deck him out. I'm not even sure. It was a very close game, and I think that, like, his misplays definitely cost him the game more than anything. Obviously, towards the end, the crucial misplay, but the misplay prior to that actually ended up costing him the game. Because let's say he doesn't summon the Christia here, right? Let's say he doesn't summon it in defense. Let's say he just keeps it in hand. And his board is JD Mirror Force, and we top deck Threatening Roar. We just set Threatening Roar. On his turn, he goes Special Christia, add back Herald, attempt to go for game. We Threatening Roar, and then on our turn, we just attack the Christia and we win. So, no matter what, we would have set up the position with the Threatening Roar to beat him after the initial misplay of not using the Beckoning Light. So I think his biggest misplay this game was actually not the game-losing one that he thought it was, but it was the one prior on not using his Beckoning Light to set up that JD plus Christia play. Very interesting game. The life total is definitely coming down to the wire. Sky Blaster putting in the work to get that extra damage, that extra 2100 damage for a normal summon. Very crucial, very effective card at pressuring the opponent and making your board wide and annoying. All right, and then the last replay I want to show you guys is up against Playmaker. And we do win the rock, paper, scissors, so we get to go first, which is always nice. Opening hand has that boy Scrap Recycler once more. Very nice. I just pass because I don't really want to play any of my cards and tell him what I'm doing. He goes set, and you can see he's playing 6 Samurai, which is a deck I've been working on a lot lately, and I'm going to be publishing a paper 6 Samurai video sometime in the next few weeks. I'm very excited to show you guys new list and tournament footage for that, so make sure to stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed so you can see some new takes. I don't think Xian's Foot Soldier is a good card. I actually think it's quite bad, so yeah. I'm going to summon Gear Frame, Normally, Machina has a pretty easy time against Six Samurai just because Fortress just fucking destroys this deck, but they can have some draws that make it really tricky. He's going to go ahead and pivot into Cayman, and we are going to attack over him, or Kamon. I'm not sure how you pronounce this guy, but we are going to destroy him. So now, once again, I just don't think this card is very good. I think it's like a little bit outclassed because I don't know. Obviously, it's nice to be able to get Cayman or Yaichi or Hand all with the same card. I just think it's a little bit outclassed. I'm going to quit my guy. I just pass. He's going to go upstart. I'm like, all right. We gained 1,000. We're at 9,000. He sets a back row. He sets another back row. And then another back row. And I'm like, all right. He's got a bunch of back row. Let's just summon both Fortress. Attack. He's got Mirror Force. I'm like, fuck. All right. Attack for 25. Cool. We got the 25 in. We could have summoned one of these Ancient Gear guys first, but we would have played in that Mirror Force one way or another. It just would have been an extra 3,000 damage. That being said, I probably should have done that. I probably should have tried to do that. Like special the gear frame. Nah, even then, because then we lose the gear frame body. We could have sacked the Fortress for it and then pitched the other one for it. It would have been an extra 3,000, but we would have lost our whole board except for the Fortress to the Mirror Force. So a little bit overcommitment maybe, but for 3,000 damage, it might have been worth it. Maybe a misplay on my part. That being said, I was a little bit nervous of his back row, although I probably shouldn't have been. I sent another gear frame so I can get that +1. Go ahead and shuffle, draw a card. And we find Gear Town, which is nice. So OTK coming, potentially. Psych, opponent has draw 5 on his turn. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he's got that's going to be able to stabilize for him. Pretty nuts hand. I can't lie, pretty nuts hand. Double Gateway with the Dust Shoot to take our hand, with the Typhoon to interact with Gear Town, and he's got Solidarity to pump up his guys, which is the crucial anthem that he needs to be able to invalidate repeated Machina Force activations. He's going to go ahead and Gateway, Reinforcements, find Spirit. Spirit's the best Six Samurai in my opinion. I max 3 of this in almost all of my builds. I think it is incredibly powerful, and you'll see why here. He's going to go ahead and use the Gateways, 4 counters to search for hand. He's going to special Grandmaster, use the Gateways 4 counters to search for a follow-up Grandmaster. Always want to search the follow-up Grandmaster. He's going to equip. He's going to attack over the Scrap Recycler. We're going to take a bunch of damage, and he's going to draw a new card, so he's going to be unlocked from those Recklesses. Finding Six Samurai United is pretty crucial because that's going to allow him to play even after being draw locked in the draw phase. Set, pass. We're going to get Dust Shooted here. He's going to go ahead and take our Ancient Gear Golem. Now, this actually does suck because we would have been able to put up enough damage, I think, here to win the game. Let me just calculate real quick. Let's see. Gear Town is 3,000. Gajiltron is another 3,000, or is a 2,500. And then we have a 3,000. Actually, I guess we don't win the game, do we? Yeah, I guess we just don't win the game. That's crazy. That's crazy. Really annoying defense for sure. But yeah. Will we have won this game? Hold on. We have 3,000. If we had the guy, let's say we had the guy, right? The Gear Golem. We go Gear Town. If I main decked Mausoleum, I think we would have had game here. We're going to go ahead and get our Gear Dragon. We would have had one more Fortress in play. Yeah, but that's just not enough. Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough here. Gores and Threatening Roar are looking pretty trash, not going to lie. Go ahead and pop the 6. Probably should have... Did I have the Threatening Roar last turn? Maybe I should have set it. I think I might have drawn it for turn. I'm not really sure. He Typhoons the back row. He knows it's chainable Threatening Roar. We just chain it. He goes United. Summons hand. He's able to clear our whole board, which is really annoying. Yeah, this is a really tough one. He's able to just clear the board, clear the hand, but he kind of has this infinite pop thing going on. And then he's going to get to draw 2 and hopefully find some interaction. He finds Reinforced Truth, which works with the Xian's Foot Soldier. But once again, I think that this engine is very subpar. I think it's very bad. It's chainable, but I think it's bad. He upstarts into Legacy. we find the Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. And that's just not going to be enough to come back that game. So, man, double gateway is insane. That shit is crazy. That shit is actually crazy. It's crazy that we weren't able to, like, even though we had so many machine monsters and so much pressure, because we had, like, those two, like, kind of defensive cards, we weren't able to piece together the last few points of damage and ever really make anything work. The dust shoot there was also pretty crucial. He kind of had all the crucial pieces in order to, like, make shit work. That being said, we side in all the most aggressive cards. We just go hyper aggro game 2 and game 3. He has a lot of trap cards like Reckless Greed, Legacy of Yada that we don't have to respect. It's just Mirror Force, really. We draw Terraforming. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll just pass. He's going to summon Dyna and attack for 12. And this deck actually laughs at Dyna quite a bit because post-board, what we've got is we've got, obviously, the triple Ancient Gear Beast, which runs over Dyna through D Prison, through whatever. We got Gale, which kills it. We've got Mausoleum, which just lets you play through it. And then we got a bunch of ways to kill it. So Dyna is usually only useful when they're like setting it and blowing up your board. But even then, they risk the Ancient Gear Beast gating it and destroying it. Or just me having normal summon monsters. So he's... Oh, this is the wrong match. Hold on. Where was I? Here I was. So even though he has Pulling the Rug as well, like that's just not going to stop Ancient Gear Beast. We're going to draw Cyber Valley. I'm going to Heavy Storm. See the Pulling the Rug. That's yet another back row I never have to respect. I'm going to go ahead and summon the Ancient Gear Beast, just run over his guy, and show off the power of that good boy. This card's insane. I love drawing it. My win percentage when I draw this card is significantly higher than when I don't. I think it's one of the best cards, if not the best card in the deck, by far. Like, just really, really insane to be able to have a 2000 normal summon, can't be Deprison, can't be Mirror Forced, and it negates anything it destroys by battle. Like, that is an absurd effect. This is like a crazy, crazy card. It's almost always worth the -1 of activating Gear Town. Like, almost always, if not always. And oftentimes it just solos the opponents when you draw it. So, yeah, very busted card. He special Cyber Dragon. He makes the smart decision to contact immediately. Even though it leaves him with a weaker monster, it does leave him not with Cyber Dragon in play. He's going to Gateway, 6M United, normal summon, hit us for 36. And now it's really on us to make the comeback happen, because if he draws another 6 Samurai here, we just kind of get fucked. So he sets a back row. We find Ancient Gear Golem. So pretty good draw, because now I can just go all out and put him to like 100 life points. Fuck it. You don't have Mirror Force. Make him have it. He has to have Mirror Force. He doesn't, but make him have it. Terraforming. Grab Mausoleum. Sack the Gear Town for Mausoleum. Or special Cyber Dragon first, of course. Sack the Gear Town for Mausoleum. Bring out the Gajiltron Dragon. Pitch special Machina Fortress. Activate Mausoleum. Pay 2,000. Normal summon Ancient Gear Golem. So, huge board. Still not fucking game somehow, because he's able to just put up these stupid annoying blockers. But you know what? It's going to clear his whole board. It's going to deal 1 billion damage. And it's going to say out this in 1 turn or die. And that's exactly how I like to play these types of matchups, where like, if they have inevitability, you just got to rush them. You just got to rush them. Main phase 2. Crucial error here would be leaving the Cyber Dragon in play or summoning the Chimera Tech in attack position. If you summon the Chimera Tech in attack position here, your opponent can find any 6 Samurai and then double pump, or find any 6 Samurai, search Grandmaster, and then triple pump, and then attack over the Chimera Tech for lethal damage, because we are down to 1200 because of the Mausoleum and the previous turn's attacks. So absolutely have to summon Chimera Tech in defense here, or else 1 6 Samurai monster is just lethal. As it stands, 1 6 Samurai monster is bad for us, but it's not just lethal. You'll see he draws Mystical Space Typhoon. He draws 2 more cards. And it was important that we put him to 200 here and not hold back on any of the aggro, because Mausoleum being face up means he can pay 1,000 to normal summon Grandmaster of the 6. And we don't want to be in that situation at all. He launches the 6 Samurai United to hope to draw out of the situation, and he realizes here that he is dead on board and concedes. So, yeah, those attacks, crucial damage, crucial aggression, being able to put him below 1,000, not able to use our Mausoleum against us, and we were able to put him in a better have it or lose. And even with 4 draws, he wasn't able to find the crucial card to get him back inside the game. I think he needed specifically Rhoda or Hand of the 6. I don't think any other card keeps him in the game there. But yeah, it was a close game. Because, you know, if we didn't have that ability to push or put him below 1,000, then he could have normal summoned the Grandmaster, and who knows what would have happened. He would have had, 6 counters, and then he could, maybe pump the guy, or United draw 2, and try to find Cyber Dragon or something. I don't fucking know. Cyber Dragon also would have got him out of that situation, I think. Yeah, Cyber Dragon would have also been good. Anyway, we open up with the Beast again, so we have the Dyna out, we've got the Valley, we've got the Caius. I decided to just leave the Caiuses in, even though he was on Pulling the Rug, because it's such a fucking good card that's just just leave it in. He wrote us for Zenji. activates Gateway, summons Zanji, and we draw the best card in the matchup, which is Space Typhoon, because that destroys Gateway, and Gateway is the best card. So if you can destroy the best card, then you control the game. We're going to go ahead and just summon Cyber Dragon and attack. I kind of want to force him to deal with the Cyber Dragon. He's going to take 300. Just kidding, I actually wanted to draw 2. I was playing around pulling the rug by not sacking for Caius and targeting the Gateway. But I think that sack for Caius, target the Gateway is a totally defensible play here. I just think that because I saw pulling the rug last game, it was probably for the best to just try and draw 2 and figure out what to do after that. So we draw 2, we find Terraforming, Heavy Storm, and I'm more than happy going for Heavy Storm here. Again, I've been playing the whole game like he has pulling the rug. I'm just going to assume he has pulling the rug. I'm going to fire the Heavy Storm. He reveals Jar of Greed, but I'm more than happy 1-for-1 trading Heavy Storm with Gateway of the 6. This card is absurdly broken. This card is like Black Whirlwind on super steroids. It's a monster of a card. Like an absolute monster of a card. Set the Typhoon. He summons Dyna. Once again, we've got the Gear Town Gear Beast combo to be able to run over the Dyna. He's going to set 2 cards. I'm not going to Typhoon either of them because I just don't give a shit. I'm going to go ahead and Terraforming, get Gear Town, activate Gear Town, normal summon Gear Beast. I'm not going to take a 50-50 on a potential bottomless trap hole. Alright? I'm just not. And one thing that I can do in this matchup, which is really cool, is I can declare an attack with Ancient Gear Beast and use that like Cold Wave window to Typhoon one of his draw traps, like a Reckless Greed or something like that. And he won't be able to chain it, which is kind of nice. So it's a play I'm considering. I am currently not going to do it, but it is a play that I considered. I can also use Typhoon in that phase to pop my own Gear Town and special summon out something, but Dyna's in play, so I can't do that right now. We're just going to attack over the Dyna and keep it straightforward. Clear the Dyna the same way we did last game, and yeah, go from there. He's going to set a back row, pass the turn back to us. Gear Beast is just best boy. I'm going to summon the Gear Frame. If you have Torrential, better fucking have it. I go ahead and Terraforming for Gear Town. I make some interesting plays here. I'm not sure if they were correct, but I decided to equip the Gear Frame to the Gear Beast. Set, he chains Typhoon to this Gear Town's effect. So the second Gear Town is going to miss timing, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we are going to be able to get out a Gajiltron Dragon. We would have been able to OTK him by, once again, going for that like soft Cold Wave on the attack, and then Typhoon our Gear Town, special summon the guy, and then deal 8,000 that way. But because he had his own Typhoon specifically there, we're not able to OTK him. And now we're actually in quite a bad spot if he has something like Cyber Dragon. If he has something like Cyber Dragon, I think we instantly lose. So on this, I decide to Typhoon his back row on the attack declaration of Gajiltron Dragon, because if he has something like Reckless Greed, I don't want him to be able to use that to draw into Cyber Dragon, because that will just kill us outright. We end up hitting a D Prison, which was just dead in the matchup, so kind of funny that he left those in. I'm not sure why he did. He has another Dyna in hand, which he can use to pop the Gajiltron Dragon, but once again, the Gear Beast will just negate it. So his card is just like pretty invalidated by Ancient Gear Beast. He draws for turn. It's Reckless Greed. Forced to set it because these cards are kind of slow. Another D Prison set. Card's just dead against these cards. He's going to set the Dyna. We're going to go ahead and Gear Frame, bring it back. Sack the Gear Frame for Caius. Caius target the set monster. And this wouldn't have even mattered because Gear Beast would have negated it, but broken, right? Just close the game out with the Caius. Keep it simple. And yeah, Ancient Gears, baby. So pretty fun few matches. Pretty fun vid. Really sick build. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think Phantom Skyblaster is just a cool card. It's just a really cool card. I don't know if it's like optimal. I don't know if it's the best list you could play. I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to play Triple Gear Beast. Maybe you're not supposed to play Scrap Recycler. I don't fucking know. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, and the results are decent. You know, they're alright. It's doing alright. I might take this to a tournament in the future. But don't sleep on this guy. Don't sleep on Phantom Skyblaster. Especially if your deck can special summon. Let's say you can special summon something like, I don't know, Armed Wing. Then you normal summon a Skyblaster. All of a sudden you have 4,400 points of damage. That's pretty good. Or let's say you can special something like Machina Fortress. Maybe another Machina builds with more back row. Skyblaster is very useful. Let's say you have Hamster into Raikou. Okay, you have your Raikou body left over. Now your Skyblaster gets you 2 tokens. That's really strong. You know what I mean? Like there's just like a lot of applications for this card, and the fact that it's just anywhere from 2,100 to 3,000 points of damage on its own, due to its burn effect on the standby coming back, is really impressive for just a 4-star normal summon. It's a dark, which is great. It leaves you with tokens that have value for either Caius or whatever else you want to do with them, whether it's enemy controller or Cyber Valley or anything. Just poke out Raikous with them. Yeah, very interesting card, very unique deck, and I hope to see you guys in the next vid. Peace.